how surprising to you was this result? You were physically there in Columbus over the weekend.
Shocking. I mean, I think the only person I knew of who was expecting a Michigan win was our friend Charles Woodson. I think everybody else looked at it and go, okay, this is not just a Michigan team that has an inept offense. Now it's an inept Michigan team. We found out, pretty much the night before that Colston Loveland, their best player on offense, he wasn't going to be able to play in the game. On top of that, Will Johnson, who's their best defensive back and arguably their best defensive player, he's missed much of the second half of the season. He wasn't going to play. So you're talking about a team that's already shaky, and now they're going to be missing, their best offensive player and arguably their best defensive player. And we watched Ryan Day, hanging an extra touchdown on Indiana the week before, even when his running back slid down at the 2-yard line to run out the clock. And then Ryan Day threw another touchdown on the fire. And he probably never heard of Kurt Cignetti a year before, and he ran it up. You don't think he was going to try to put up 70 if he could have against the Michigan Wolverines? And obviously they couldn't even put up 11 points on them. It was crazy.
Why did Ohio State keep running into the strength of Michigan's defense rather than relying on their clear advantage outside? Bruce, why did that happen, do you think?
I think a couple of things. You go in there thinking, hey, physical teams show their physicality, by running the football. But then I think there's another part of it where I just don't think there was a lot of trust with Will Howard. He had a couple of bad interceptions, one early in the game. It happened, inside their own 10-yard line. It was really costly. Will Howard was shaky when they played Penn State, threw a pick six, on his first throw, and then kind of settled in. But I also thought they had issues protecting the quarterback. But there still could have been stuff you would have thought they would have been able to do to get the ball to J.J. Smith, get the ball to Emeka Egbuka, get the ball to the running backs out in space. I mean, because they couldn't run the football. And what felt like it happened, this is different, but there were some similarities. 2 years ago, the game is in Ohio State. It's in Columbus. And it felt like Ohio State should have been up by way more than they were at halftime. And Michigan was able to hang around. Now, what I remember distinctly from being on this Michigan sideline in that game was the leaders of that Michigan team, most of them are now in the NFL. They're still not there. But they were basically in their minds calling out, and to their teammates calling out that we're the tougher team. Those guys on the other sideline, they're about to quit. And there was a huge belief in the Michigan, program that they were just the tougher team and were going to take over in the second half and in the fourth quarter. And they did. With this game, a lot of different players at Michigan. And I think that what it came down to was you had an Ohio State team. It wasn't just what you said. It was also they're missing, field goals that they should hit. It was they were just melting down. It was a team that looked tighter and tighter. And I think that was the part that was just ooh, they're unraveling. Again, credit to Michigan. They were the more physical team. Kalel Mullings, they should have he should never pay for a drink in Ann Arbor for the rest of his life. I mean, that guy put the team on his back when they beat USC, and he did it again. And to think 2 years ago, going into this game, he was still a linebacker, and then they flipped him because of injuries to play running back. He has been a revelation for them. But again, I think a lot of this was self-inflicted with Ohio State too. And Michigan did enough to create that dynamic. And it was they almost, baited a trap for Ohio State, and that guy fell into it.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.